Yes, welcome to No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Zane. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What up? What up?
Yo, we got a special one tonight. We got a special one coming on the heels. Last week we had Imam Thug. So, for us to have this brother in the house tonight, this
Real,
going to be a real good look.
real cute, a good QB representative.
Yo, so
Coming in the building, son.
let's bring the God in, Mr. Tragedy 252 Trag, and aka Intelligent Hoodlum, aka Sal Maki. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Peace. I'm blessed. I'm great.
Yo, I told you off camera. I'll tell you again, yo. Thank you for agreeing to do the interview. We appreciate it, brother.
Factual.
Sure.
Anytime, brother.
Yo, so let's get right into it, yo. Tell us how you got into rhyming and what it was like growing up in QB.
Oh man, I got into rhyming based on like when I came out on the bridge or whatever. When we first moved out to the bridge, it was like you looked out on the block and you seen everybody doing, the prospective things that they was into or that they was good at. You saw dudes, out there in the streets doing whatever, some playing ball, some doing other activities, and you kind of like would look to see, at least when as a youngin, you would look to see where you fit in at. And like I didn't really fit into that. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't really fit into a lot of things that was going on. I wasn't a ball. I wasn't into ball. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had a rhythm for it, for playing basketball and all that. But as far as like the streets, I was, I did gravitate to the streets, obviously. You know what I'm saying? And but for the most part, when hip hop came, I felt like it was a calling for me. Like I found my voice in that, and I felt comfortable in there, and I had the rhythm for it. So like, I started out just memorizing like my favorite records. So I would memorize them and spit them back, and then slowly I would add my own words to it and change it up. And then from there, I found myself writing my own joints. And I would write them in secret. I wouldn't let nobody hear them. You know what I mean? And I think the first people I ever let hear me was actually Craig G and MC Poet. You know what I'm saying? Black Poet. Those are like the first dudes that ever really heard me. Nobody else heard me.
Right.
Yo, hold on. Let me ask really quick before you go on to Rob. You said when you moved to QB, where'd you live before you moved to QB?
I'm originally from like born in Southside Jamaica.
Okay.
And my family's roots, like we went from the South to Astoria projects to Southside Jamaica. And then my mother ended up moving to getting housing, and we moved to Queensbridge. You know what I'm saying? But originally, technically, I'm from Southside Jamaica.
Okay.
Southside born, QB raised though.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Nice. I got a two-part question. How'd you come up with the name Intelligent Hoodlum? And the second question is, what are the last three books you read?
All right. The first part question. Intelligent Hoodlum was never really my name. It was actually I took that from a book that I read when I first got incarcerated, and I was locked up in Elmira, Max A reception, and then I got transferred over on the other side of the wall to the regular population of Elmira, and I was in I Block Cell 33 4 Gallery, and I read a book given to me by a brother named Hassan. He was a Muslim brother, and he gave me a book. He gave me 3 books. The first book he gave me was First book he gave me was a Donald Goines book. I don't remember the title. And then he kind of like he was testing my aim. And then he gave me another book called Man, Child, and the Promised Land by Claude Brown. And then he gave me the autobiography of Malcolm X via Alex Haley. And from the Malcolm X autobiography, it was a chapter called Hoodlum. And I related to Malcolm's story so much that I told myself if and when I got out and I ever did a record, I would name the album Intelligent Hoodlum. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I got it from. So it wasn't really a name, it was a concept that I took from reading, Malcolm X's autobiography.
Go.
The last 3 books I read, I haven't been reading too many books. I've been on my documentary game, but one of the last books I read was The Power of Human Behavior, some shit like that, by Robert Greene. I didn't even actually finish it, but you know what I'm saying. That's one of the books I'm on right now.
Shout out to Robert Greene, same author for 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, in the art production.
Right. I know you mentioned earlier, several minutes ago, you were saying your influences. Who were some of your influences growing up that made you want to get into hip hop and start writing lyrics?
I mean, I stand on many shoulders. That's why I came up with that phrase. I mean, I didn't come up with it. I got it from my grandmother. But that's why I kind of took that phrase out the grave and made it known again. Giving your roses while you can smell them. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then once I started saying it, everybody started saying it. But I got that from my grandmother though. Actually, what it was is that I stand on many shoulders. A lot of us stand on many shoulders. We just like to take the glory for ourselves. We forget to mention the multitudes of people who stood before us and held us up and helped us get to the point where we at. So I mean, I listen to everybody. So everybody kind of helped me. I mean, your Crash Crews, your Treacherous Threes, you know what I'm saying? Your Force MCs, Force MDs, you know what I'm saying? Your Melly Mel's, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Run DMC, I mean, Fearless 4, it goes on and on and on.
Those are the 80s.
Some of the mainstays that kind of, that kind of like really helped depict and help me chisel my style was like L, Rakim, and and I can say Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, because they came out with the first message record, right? Like a deeply intense message record, and that was The Message.
Yeah. Right. What did you get from L though? Like what influence did L have on you?
L's the one who before then I loved rhyming and all that. But L kind of like stamped it for me that I was gonna be an MC when I heard the original Rock the Bells. When I heard the original Rock the Bells, prior to that, excluding Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, prior to that, for the most part, MCs were like on some, la-di-da-di type of vibe, you know what I'm saying? But L came and it related to me more because L was very aggressive. That's right. And I'm aggressive, you know what I'm saying? So I related to that aggression. And also too, L had a very vast, he was very articulate, and he had a wide range of wordplay. And his vernacular was just intensive. So I was like that. I was a kid, I would sneak to the library in the hood so I could go read books because it wasn't cool to read in front of motherfuckers.
Yeah, I got to say this.
So I might punch you in the face and then sneak around the block and go to the library and read a book. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I was on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that was then though. You know what I mean? But
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I was on it. I would go sneak. I would steal books. I would actually steal the books from the library. And I would go to the river park and I sit on the bench and I read them. You know what I'm saying? I read mad different books. I would read anything. I like to just read. You know what I mean?
Yo, one of the things I think that you don't get credit for is, to me, like, you one of the first dudes that I heard use Illmatic in a rhyme. Double. You said, I get ill, I get Illmatical. And now Illmatic like a household word, right?
Yeah. Well, Illmatic was actually a person from my hood. And he was just known for doing like the craziest shit. Wow. So if you said you got Illmatic, you was beyond ill. You was beyond crazy with your shit. So his name was Illmatic Ice. So I took that and I put it in a rhyme because I was close to the street. So anything I spoke about, when I was making before Intelligent Hoodlum, what a lot of people don't realize, I had records out prior to that.
Yeah.
And those records, like I'm like 13, 14 talking about drinking Moet, which I really was doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the Supreme Team, which I really knew as a kid. Yeah. This is before dudes was even thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, that basically stemmed from a dude from my projects, and me like state and claim that I'm the illest thing in the world, because to me that was like one of the illest dudes in the world. Illmatic Ice. Peace to Illmatic Ice too, man.
Shout
Yo,
out Illmatic Ice.
what was it like being because you were the youngest dude down with the juice crew, right?
I think, yeah, I think I might be. Craig G. Me and Craig G. Might be a little bit older than me, but not too much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In part, yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on to that Illmatic theme, if you know homeboy, you putting that word into your rhyme. I just found out that Nas, his album just went to the Library of Congress. The Illmatic album just got inducted to the Library of Congress. So, you know what I'm trying to say. But that word Illmatic is a profound word, man, and it's usually great. Let me ask you this, man. In this climate, why is it important for us to have knowledge of self?
Is my mic muted?
Nah, you good. We just getting the feedback, so
okay. It's important to have knowledge of self. I mean, yo, bottom line is you're out here blind without knowledge of self. You're vulnerable and you're a target, period. You won't survive. I mean, you'll survive, but you won't live without knowledge of self.
Correct.
You can survive without knowledge of self, but you won't live without knowledge of self.
That's right. It won't thrive.
Tell me what it was like, man. I mean, Queensbridge, the largest projects in the USA, 6 city blocks, 96 buildings, a multitude of talent out there with a myriad of skill. You got NBA Ron Artest, you got yourself, you got Nas, you got Capone Noriega, you got Mobb Deep, you know, so on and so on and so on, right? Was it a lot of competition out there? I guess for iron to sharpen iron, like when y'all doing like a lot of like sitting on the block, standing on the block getting freestyles in.
I mean, for the most part, like at least for me, I came before them.
Oh, shout out Mega too, Mega.
Yeah. Shout out Mega. I came before them, so like they're like we're like it's like layers, like generational layers, so to speak.
Right.
So I came before Nas and Mobb Deep. So it's like
right.
For me, it wasn't so much competition on my level as a kid. Like I looked towards like a G-Rap and a Kane, and I'm not saying that at that time I was fucking with them. I'm just saying like that's how I looked at it. You understand?
Right.
I'm just saying that's how I looked at it because it was only me really. I mean, it was Craig G, but Craig G and I was different. Like Craig G was coming from a different perspective than I was coming from. And then later on, you had Mega come out there, but he had Mega come to the bridge, but I was coming from a different perspective, so to speak.
Now my second part of the question is, how did you meet up with Marley Marl?
Well, again, and Marley came before me, obviously. Again, with that, what it was is that I was trying to make my way into the game, so to speak. So for us, it was like, you got with the dude who had the most knowledge in whatever you wanted to get into. So for a minute, it was Panic, DJ Panic, my man Larry, and from Larry, I went to Hot Day, and everybody kept talking about Marley, this dude Marley Marl, him being on the radio and him living right there in the building, right in the corner, around the corner from mine. So I basically stalked him. You know what I'm saying? I basically like found out who he was and like, stalked him. When you want something bad enough, especially me and where I was at in my life, my parents was dope addicts. I had nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was more than hungry. I was famished. So for me, there was no denying me, and I'm gonna hunt you down until I get to where I need to be. If you were the person that could kind of be the passport to my next, progression.
Right.
Yo, I kind of look at like the evolution of the bridge. Like in some respect, you kind of became almost like the new Marley. Look how much talent funneled through you. Did that ever cross your mind? And now you're a conduit for people in QB to get on?
Yeah, it definitely crossed my mind. Once I started learning certain things from Marley, and bringing him certain ideas that he didn't necessarily jump on right away, I was like, well, because I would bring him mad ideas, like millions of them. Like I'm still full of ideas now. So imagine me younger.
Right.
So my brain is just like always moving. So I'd be like, yo, we should do this, or yo, we should do that. And he would kind of just be like, all right. And that's how Marley was. He's not gonna be like, yo, that's fire. You're not gonna get that feedback. So that's what I used to be looking for. So when I ain't get it, I'd be like, I probably suck. But then turn around, maybe one or two things he might have took, and I'd be like, oh shit, that was my idea. But then I look at it, but then I would look at it in essence like, yo, you jacked my shit must work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So then I started, coming with more ideas, and that eventually led to a Capone and Noriega. No, eventually led to a Mobb Deep, and then a Capone and Noriega.
Yeah. Yo, did you did your bid in Elmira before the Intelligent Hoodlum album or after that?
Of course. I did my bid in Elmira before the Intelligent Hoodlum album because that's where I got the concept for Intelligent Hoodlum.
How much of that album did you actually write when you was locked up, if any?
None of it.
None of it? Okay.
None of it. I lied. When I came home, in fact, I didn't even want to make music anymore.
Damn.
I was bitter. I was bitter with the game. I felt like the game let me down, but in all essence, I let myself down because I made a desperate move. I was hungry. I was out there in the streets, and Marley was like, yo, be patient. It's going to happen. And that's why I tell people all the time. Yo, do not quit, because the minute you quit, that be the very minute that the door opens. Because it happened to me. Not once, not twice, but 3 times it happened to me.
Damn.
See, people call me Intelligent Hoodlum, but for me, honestly, I don't think I'm that smart. It's just think that I paid enough. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, the best lesson is the best lesson is a paid lesson. I paid so much that it seems like I'm smart, but it's not that I'm smart. It's just that I paid so much because I didn't listen. You know what I'm saying? Like Marley was like, yo, what did he say? He said, yo, be patient. Yo, I'm telling you, just be easy. And I'm like, yeah, all right. But it's hard for me to be patient when ain't no food in the crib.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm the oldest, and I got, 4 other sisters and brothers, and they looking up to me like, yo, you got to go get it.
Yeah.
Or else we not going to make it.
Yeah.
So I would get out there and do what I had to do, and I made a move, and I got caught up and landed in Elmira, and I never forget, I'm on it. And it's funny because the dude that passed the tape down to me, his name was Trell. Rest in peace. He passed away. He used to be camera on security.
Get out of here. Small world.
Yeah, I just seen Cam in Miami, and we was talking about Trell because Trell was a good dude, man. But Trell was like, yo, shorty, you ain't Tragedy down to Juice Crew. If you was, you'd be on this tape. So I said, send the tape down. So he threw a line down with the tape. I catch the line, and I looked at the tape, and all these niggas is on the cover getting out of a jet.
Damn.
Yeah.
And I'm sick. You know what that feels like? I'm sick.
But you had like 2 songs on there, though, right?
Yeah, but nobody knew my face.
Damn.
And it's funny because that's how my career has been. I've always been the faceless dude. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There wasn't always, for a long time, it wasn't really a face to me. I was like urban legend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a myth almost.
That's right.
Now I like it though.
You
know what's crazy though?
What up?
Nah, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
You're a visionary because one of your influences was Chuck D. Talk about meeting Chuck D when you reached out to him.
Oh, when I met Chuck D is crazy because I had just came home, and that's I got to go back a little bit because I said I lied about something. I ain't tell you what I lied about though. I came home from Elmira. Oh, because you asked me how much of Intelligent Hoodlum.
Oh, you muted.
Was my phone ringing? I had to cut it off.
Okay.
You asked me how much of Intelligent Hoodlum did I write when I was up north, and I said I didn't write none of Intelligent Hoodlum when I was up north, and I said I lied, but I didn't get into what I was talking about. And the story of me and Chuck D meeting, it comes right directly behind why I said I lied. Anyway, I'm in Elmira. I'm like, damn, I don't want to rhyme no more. Fuck that shit. I was bitter. I wasn't hating on my crew. I wasn't. But I just was hating on the fact that I wasn't involved.
Right.
I was happy for them, but I just wasn't happy because for myself for not being involved. So I come home, and Marley's coming through the bridge, and I'm walking up the hill, and he honks the horn, and I look over, and I'm like, oh shit, because when I left, this nigga had a bullshit Cougar. So now when I look, he got a cherry red 525, cream beige interior, and that shit is looking like something special. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he rolled the window down. I go over and shit. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, yo, what up? He's like, yo, man, you ready to go in the studio? And I don't know about anybody else, right? And this is why I lied. When you smell new leather in the car, yo, that shit smell like money.
Yeah. Change your whole.
I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he's like, you ready to go to the studio? I said, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that shit smelled so good. It smelled like money. And I never smelled that before. You know what I mean? Or before that, I never smelled what a new car smelled like. I never even been inside a new car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Respect the Marley though, because some dudes come home and they be hot and you don't want to fuck with them. But the fact Marley, was like, I see you out on the rock with me. I mean, he seen something new.
Yeah, listen, I never said Marley wasn't a visionary too. You got to understand, this is a man who started out doing electric music and kind of fell into doing hip hop and became damn near 80% of what hip hop was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that takes a certain kind of visionary and genius. So please believe and don't ever get it, misconstrued that I'm not giving him his. And plus two, even through the bad and the good, he taught me the game.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? That's I just paid for my education. That's all. I just paid for college. I paid for my doctorates.
So what's all right? So what's we hear the good? What's the bad? What's the bad experience?
Oh man, you're gonna have many of those depending on depending on your perspective on it, man. Everything is based on your understanding. You know what I'm saying? I can say there were bad situations and bad moments where, I didn't have the leverage or value that I should have had, but that was to my own fault because I didn't have the right understanding. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to go into this with the right understanding. Now I'm gonna circle back on that, but let's get back to the other, the other main end of the question with Chuck D. When I would go to so now I'm going in the studio and I had nothing written. So now I'm in the studio, I gotta sit and write. But luckily Marley is doing his thing. He's upstairs living, doing whatever he's doing, and I'm downstairs. So I may have an hour or two to just. So within an hour or two, I'm writing a song. But as I'm sitting there writing, I notice there's a black book on the mix board, a phone book. So I mean, who's not gonna look in Marley's black book?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm looking through the book, and I'm seeing all type of numbers that maybe I should have called them before too, but that wasn't my interest. I'm seeing names like Andre Harrell, rest in peace, Russell Simmons, Benny Medina. I see Quincy Jones in there.
Damn.
You know
Big wigs.
Yeah, but the one that caught my eye was Chuck D.
Wow.
And the reason why I caught my eye is because when I came home, the first thing I saw on Video Music Box was Night of the Living Bassheads. Now, when I left, Chuck D was making records like number one, you know what I'm saying? Now, when I come home, it's like, and that night he went to sleep, and in the morning all he had was sneakers on his feet. The Crown Prince used to jam and rock the mic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like when I saw that fucking video, bro, I was like this, oh shit. What the fuck is that?
Chuck put it out there.
Yo, son, I watched that shit a billion times. Like, I watched that shit so much. My man's in the crib used to be like, yo, son, turn that shit off. Why you keep watching that shit? Because when I'm into something, I get obsessed with it. You know what I mean? I let it play over and over. So now when I see his number, I call the number. Molly's upstairs. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, what's up? So he's like, yo, who's this? I'm like, yo, never mind that. I said, yo, who? Well, this man arrogant with it too. That's how I was. But I was really scared. You know what I'm saying? I was really a young kid scared and just trying to get to the situation without him deading me because I need him to answer one question for me.
Mm.
And I say, yo, who is Asada Shakur?
Wow.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because when I went to jail, I only knew about niggas named Felton, Smitty, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? The 40 Busters, Supreme Team, and shit like that.
Shit around the way.
So when I come home and I hear him talking about Joanne Chesimard, H. Rap Brown, Eldridge Cleaver, he knew it. Asada Shakur. I'm like, who the fuck is these niggas?
That's right. That's right.
And who's these niggas? I love these niggas because these niggas ain't scared of police.
Yeah.
I think these niggas is the real niggas. These gotta be the real niggas.
That's right, the realest of them.
Because these niggas ain't scared of the enemy. And they're blatantly telling you, this nigga's the fucking enemy. These are the niggas I want to know about. Why I don't know about these niggas? If they in books, why I never got these books? I went to school for a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now I'm talking to Chuck, and Chuck, bless Chuck, man. Chuck is a good dude. Chuck D is on the phone with me after this sometimes for an hour.
Wow.
And he's giving me all these listings of books to go get, and I'm going to get all of them. And that helped spark the energy and the intensity for Intelligent Hoodlum too. Because while I'm doing the record, while I'm doing the album, I'm reading these books. And I'm going in with them. And I'm like, oh shit, yo, these people actually fought for me. And they didn't even know me. These
are real with concepts and all that.
These are not, characters written by Stan Lee.
These are real.
These are real life X-Men.
Yeah, all real heroes.
I tell you what, man. When that classic, shout out to Chuck D. Speaking of Chuck D though, when that classic track came out, when they all got together, did Self-Destruction.
Yeah.
To me, Chuck D had the major staple of that whole song right there.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. This is not to take away from any of the other brothers and their contribution on the song. It's just he brings a certain kind of
energy
to it.
Right.
And it's more than just a rhyme to him. And you can kind of see it because like in an ill kind of way, he doesn't even necessarily rhyme all the time.
Information out.
It's more about the message. It's more like
his intensity makes it sound fly though.
Right. It's more like to me it's
aura,
like
his aura just makes it ill. So that's how I met Chuck D, baby. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, like we wound up bumping heads and or bumping into each other, I should say, at the Def Jam, and I was like, yeah, I was the kid calling you all the time. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, word? He's like, yo, when I go on tour, I'm taking you. And I was like, yeah, all right. And 6 months later, I went on tour in Europe, my first European tour.
How about that?
Wow.
Yo, my Michael Laster said, salute, Trash. That's my man, Pete. He actually, me and him was on the phone building today, and he told me that he was locked up with you one time.
Yeah.
Trash, cool as shit.
Yeah. Factual. Tell him I said peace, too.
Yeah. Yo, so it's funny because you was mentioning earlier, and you were saying that you had become disenchanted with the business. When you got locked up. Were there other times that you become disenchanted with the business?
Yeah, of course. Like, and this is something I try to teach people now, like going through certain things. We kind of get it twisted sometimes, and I know I did, and especially in my early stages, we get it twisted like with personal and business. You know what I mean? We get it twisted a lot, and I, like I said, I did, like, because again, I looked in the beginning, I just wanted to make a record in the beginning. I didn't understand the business, and I didn't have anyone to necessarily teach me the business because nobody wanted to teach me the business. Because if they did, they might not have been able to do what they did. So, I mean, and then later on, I kind of try to, at times, like, I kind of try to find myself in artists and try to give them, like, that big brother kind of love.
Right.
but you know, everybody doesn't necessarily embrace that, or they may appear to like they're embracing it, but that's not their agenda. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you got to take care of yourself first. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You take care of yourself first. I mean, overall, I came out good because the facts still remain. What's in there is in there, so to speak. I don't want to get into too much, you know, dig up any old graves or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? If you read between the lines, you read between the lines. But
Yeah, we get
you
it.
know what I'm saying? You know, stay swift. But you know, what's there is what's there. So it wasn't too much of a fight, you know, behind closed doors, so to speak. But you know, for the most part, you know, you gotta you can have a personal relationship too, but you just gotta make sure you pay yourself first and take care of yourself first, man, because you know, a lot of people are not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like people could say what they want about me, but if you look at the record and if you look really into it, I never did that to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, I always put myself on the back burner and took care of everybody first. You know what I mean? People at times would try to make it seem like that was far from the case, but in all reality, when it's all said and done, you can tell it wasn't. Because if it was, it wouldn't be what it is now. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yo, it's funny you say that because you know I look at it and I'm like, you threw the alley oop to a lot of people that you didn't have to, and because of that alley oop, you know, in particular, I think about Nori, and I'm happy that you and Nori resolved your differences.
Yeah.
You know, but Nori is a dude that you embraced him and Capone, quarterback the CNN album. The CNN regarded the War Report is regarded as a classic. You know, all through the album, you hear your influence on the album, but then afterwards, it appears that Nori gets with track masters and everything else. The sound changes, everything goes awry and goes, you know, different and becomes different. Like I'm trying to figure out from a fan standpoint and watching it go down, how did that all play out? Like, how was it that you were not involved with the NORE album?
I mean, that was his solo attempt, and that was in a different direction. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I was supposed to be. I should have been involved in the more in the other war reports, I believe. But you know what I'm saying? It didn't turn out that way. Um, at the same time, it wasn't meant for me to necessarily be involved with those other projects with him. You know what I'm saying? That was his coming out party, so to speak. And you know, for the most part, it worked for him. You know what I mean? I wish it would have worked for Pone too. You know what I mean? I wish it would work for everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's basically how it went. As long as what I touched signify what I represent. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's important to me.
Yeah.
I watched the documentary, man, QB. And one of the things I said about, I said, yo, man, it'd be dope if Trash had an album called Tragedy to Triumph. Like, I don't know if that's in your concept,
Yo,
Trash.
wait a minute, hold on. You know it's crazy? That's the name of my book.
Wow.
Wow.
That's the name of my book. That's crazy. I like that. That's the name
Mm.
of my book.
I was sick because I'm looking, I'm like, yeah,
Yo, hold on. Who are you, man? You probably was around me before. Hold on, man. Hold on, man. You probably heard me say that. I had to zero in on you.
nah, because I watched that whole documentary and the things you've been through and the stories that you tell and all of your experiences. It is tragedy. And for someone to give you that name tragedy, like, yeah, your name ain't so you should be tragedy. Like the shit that you're going through or put yourself through between jail time and other things you've been through, there has to be a triumph from all of the times you done paid. So let me ask you this: what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated, honestly, is like my hunger. My hunger, my love, and my passion for it. You know what I'm saying?
Believe,
And
believe.
plus, I know how to make more money in it too now, so that keeps me going too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But first and foremost, my passion and my hunger. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. Like it's mine. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that wasn't given to us. A lot of shit we got in this world as original people is shit that was given to us.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop is something that, oh, excuse me, it was given to us, but just not by the enemy.
Right.
Mm.
You feel me?
Yes, sir.
So that's a divine gift. Hip
That's right.
hop is a divine gift.
Yes, sir.
Whether you want to realize it or not, and I don't care if people say, yo, he getting too deep. Nigga, my life is deep. Our life is deep. Our existence is deep.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that I can't be an extreme businessman. That doesn't mean I can't be a powerful mogul. Nah, that's the opposite. It means that I am that. It means that I have the potential to be that, such as yourself. But what it means is that I have an even greater potential to be it when I understand that this is a divine gift.
Right.
And this is a divine gift. No, I'm serious. This is a divine gift.
You be a fool not to capitalize off of it when other people are.
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes we do play the fool, you know what I'm saying? But we ain't gonna play the fool forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, understand is the best part. I'm gonna get the best part. A broke clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying?
Now, is it true that you and Ghostface's cousins? That's my first question.
That's family. That's family. Yeah.
Now, peep this though, right? Remember way back at the beginning of the interview when you said that you didn't have a face, but people knew your lyrics.
Yeah.
And that coincide with how Ghost, like, I mean, it just crazy how the world works.
Yeah.
Ghost came out. Ghost was unseen for a while.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew had Ghost had darts, but Ghost was unseen for a while for certain situations.
He was in the cut. He was in the cut. And the good thing about it too, Ghost had a team of people moving in the same direction. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you got a team moving in the same direction, you could be a man without no face, because now it draws people to want to know who the fuck is that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? More so with me, it was like I was by myself. It's like I'm in a war like this, do, and I'm thinking I got an army with me, but when I look, I'm like, oh shit, it's just me. But then I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep shooting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tell me about the when, I mean, everybody that's real hip hop heads should know that you are the catalyst or the reason how Capone and Noriega got together. But number two is, tell me about the studio sessions. Like you sitting back being like the mad scientist behind the whole situation, formulating it all together, shaping it like clay. Tell me about some of your favorite studio sessions.
One of my favorite studio sessions, and I want to say this too, like a lot of times, Nori has a very high work ethic. You know what I'm saying? He would take the jewels and like really go hard with them. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing. That's just like the father. When the father came with the lessons, he came with the lessons for us to get the best part of understanding and travel with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what Nori did. So in that, I commend him on that, because he wouldn't be late to a session. He'd be the last one to leave a session, and he would sit there and soak it all up. Pone, on the other hand, is a little different. You know what I'm saying? My brother's a little different. Love him, but he was a little different.
Right.
But one of my most memorable sessions is when Nori was doing Bloody Money, and Nori didn't know song structure. I had to teach him song structure. So he's doing the rhymes, and he was like, "Yo, I don't got a hook," and I was like, "That last line is the hook right there. Just repeat it and do it over." And that came out to be Bloody Money, and that was one of my most best sessions because it was so raw. He didn't even realize that he had it right there.
Right.
He just didn't know how to extract it.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to draw it up.
He credits you a lot too for the way he rhymes as well, man. So
yeah,
that's baby bro, man. You know, things happen, but everything come back 360, man. You know, it's like the science of life. It's science of life.
Yeah. Yo, Traj, I often wonder, like, you know, with how come you didn't do more? How come you don't do more on like the almost like the A&R tip or something like that? Like, yo, you got a good ear for talent and cultivating talent. You know, like even with Imam Thug, when we had him on, he gave you mad props and was like, yo, I wasn't even rapping. Traj got me in the rhyming. Traj quarterbacked it, drew up the whole play and everything. Like you got a good ear for talent and cultivating talent. Like, why haven't you done more in that arena?
Allow me to add to that, son. You raised the nation, Lord. Like you raised brothers, man.
You know what it is? I felt, not to cut you, only to add on, I felt, like you said with the earlier question, I felt I took a lot of things personal. And when I didn't get the feedback that I thought I should have gotten, it kind of like made me leery of even dealing with dudes. which in a sense you gotta have a filter. Like you can't put the wand on everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is not for everybody. But
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting that you asked me that now because that's what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing now. I just opened a company where I'm helping to market and promote and do artist development for a lot of different artists.
Yo, I
Even
think
believe it or not, even some of the youngins that's doing that drill trap, like I even got vision for them.
Huge market for that too.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got the ear, man.
But I got vision for them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a separate. It's a different language, but it's not a separate energy.
right.
Right.
You understand?
That's right.
Yeah. Now you definitely got an ear. You got an ear for talent, and you pick them out, and you develop them, you cultivate them, you work them up. You know, you take people that when I heard Iman Thug say, yo, he ain't even rhyme, that he was just working up at the office. I'm like, yo, and from not rhyming to that, yo, that tells me definitely that that's something that you need to put more time and energy into, brother, because that's a gift.
Yeah.
Your influence is strong, man. People respect what you got to tell them, and then look at their lives. Just think about. Let me ask you this: how did you feel when Havoc or the mob started to take off after meeting Havoc so young, and you was like, "Yo, so every time I see you, you better come with a different rhyme, son." And then he takes off to be who he is now.
He kind of make it seem like I was abusing him and shit, but
Sharp. Hey, iron
that's
sharp iron, bro. You know,
yeah,
sharpen
that's
the
my little
sword.
brother though. That's my little brother. It's funny. I just got on the phone with him too, but yeah,
Mhm.
but I mean, yeah, situations like that, man. Like I look at it, and I see that it works. I
Right.
see that. Like my man Fatal, and it's funny because the reason why I even started getting back into making music again, a part I left out. I met a dude named Fatal, and Fatal was like, "Yo, man, you're fucking." Because I came home, like I said, and I said I was gonna quit, and I met this dude Fatal. This is how I really got back into it before I even saw Marley on the Hill. And Fatal was like, "Yo, you gonna quit?" He was like, "Yo, you bugging? While you was gone, the streets was waiting for you."
Wow.
And I was like, fuck out of here. And this was at a G-Rap concert at the Beacon. So he was like, yo, come with me. And I left after the concert, and we drove to Harlem, and we drove to 125th Street. And he said, look, now for my era, you kind of made it when you had a
Or your phone ringing, Traj, I think.
yeah, I'm back on though. You there? Y'all there?
Yeah, we here.
Y'all can see me? All right, cool.
Yeah.
I got a call with him. I have to call him back. But he took me to Harlem, and he said, look, and I looked, and it was a backdrop, and it said Live Motivator, right? And back then, you made it if you had a backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You remember
Right.
niggas would be up with the pictures and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, shit. I ain't gonna lie. That shit almost made me cry. I was like, oh, shit. Like, the streets really remember me. Like, that little bullshit made me feel like, oh, shit, yo, I thought I was forgotten.
Nah, your slang lives, man.
Yeah, and so I told Fatal, he said, you still gonna quit? I said, yo, you know what? If I do another record, I'm gonna make you my DJ. And that's what I did. A couple months later, that's when I saw Marley and all of that. But I say all that to say, like, I realized like my greatest thing, like I'm not taking nothing away from me as an MC, but my greatest thing to me, as far as like my greatest thing is to bring it out of people. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Like I'm not taking my Tyson away, but I'm definitely Customato. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. That should be your new name, son. Find that twist.
And that's
again.
That should be your new name. Put Customato in there somewhere.
Yo,
yeah, I like this guy, man. I like this guy.
That's the perfect metaphor.
He thinks right, this guy.
Yo, that's the perfect metaphor, Trash. That's exactly what I was saying. Like, I think sometimes people get lost and you get so wrapped into certain shit that you sometimes you miss what your actual gift is. Lyricism, hands down, bro. There's no way to debate that, what your lyrical ability is. But the other side of the coin, the real gem that I see is I'm like, people link up with this brother and their lyricism skills increase. Their ability to make a good song, you know, increases. They just get better as MCs.
I train them.
Hey, also, Traz, I like to say shout out to that because the fellas was talking about earlier about you being a good ear for music. I saw that plug on your Skyline shit, man. You was in the Skyline the background.
Yeah.
You told up and coming artists how to get in touch with you, man.
That's right.
Salute.
That's right. Yeah, like and actually one of them called me just now, but I had to stop him for this interview. But I'll get back to him. If you're watching, Jay, I'm gonna call you back. But yeah, that's like I said, that definitely pushed me to open that lane in terms of like, you know, artist development and marketing, and you know, basically being like a life coach. If more than anything, a life coach.
Right.
And it's not so much doing what I did. Yo, don't do some of the shit I did. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I can show you, like they said, a wise man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from another man's
mistakes. Yeah.
And that's a perfect segue too, brother.
And I can show you what not to do. You feel me?
Right.
So
that's a perfect segue to get into to the second question. Is that tell me about the new artists that you have right now that you're pushing, bro?
I'm pushing G Stats with Harder Bars, which is actually almost a slight remake to T.O.Y. I'm actually on the track. G Stats. I want to get G Stats through on your show. Rapping
G Stats is Friday.
Yeah,
for sure.
G Stats will be on Friday. QB Rap P. I'm pushing him up next. I'm also doing some artist development for Bigger Vision, a company called Bigger Vision, and an artist called Starboy. He's a little more in the commercial realm of things in terms of the relevancy in media and the music for the younger generation, but he's dope. You know what I'm saying? And those are the artists that I'm working with right now. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's where I'm at with it right now. And I'm excited about it too because it's kind of like different lanes for me, and I love the challenge, but I see the vision. Like one thing about me, when I get with somebody and I sit down with them, and in 10 minutes, I kind of see where they need to go.
Yes.
It's like I can see exactly where they need to go and what they need to do. I can't explain it. It's bugged out.
Yeah.
True mind of a visionary right there.
Yo, for the people that's watching, if you got a question for Traj, put it in the chat. Yo, one of my favorite albums that I still listen to this day is the Against All Odds album, and They Forced My Hand, the joint with Cormega on there. That shit, like, yeah, that shit right there. That song still go hard. And then the other joint where I don't know what's the name of it. I think it's with the chick singing I Don't Want to Wait.
Scarred.
Yeah. Yo, what is that? You flip for is that Felicity? Dawson Creek? What is that?
It's from Dawson's Creek. And we got it cleared.
Wow, nice.
Nice.
And we got it cleared. The white people gave us clearance on that.
that shit right there, like, yo, if you listen to the lyrics of that joint right there, like, yo, you was in your zone on that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I was feeling it. My mother was on her deathbed when I wrote that.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Rest in power. Rest in paradise.
Yeah. Perfection, man. Also, yo, talk about On the Child. I can come up with that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you never asked. On the Child is basically a concept of, you know, the guests coming on and making their signature dish for the viewer. That guest could be, well, primarily, you know, it's going to be hip hop, but
Right.
We'll have actors on there. We'll have comedians on there. We'll have media influencers on there, which is all still hip hop.
Right.
So they come on and they make their dish, and then they sit down with me and my partner, and, you know, we're going to have some real talk. And that's, you know, I'm going to have real talk with them. So the next, we've had, you know, China Mac. We've had Roxanne Shante, Naughty by Nature, Roy Flush, Lord Jamal, Saigon. And now the next episode we're about to drop is very interesting episode because we got into a lot of very interesting things from his perspective, and that's Havoc of Mobb Deep.
Okay.
Right.
So I suggest everybody watch that because I asked some pretty interesting questions, and it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Yo, in that same vein, I thought it was a dope concept for the drive-bys with Chris Castro also.
Shout out to your brother Castro.
Yeah,
right.
Shout out to Castro. That was dope, man. I I wish we could have continued on, but that lived his life out, so to speak. So, hopefully he'll keep it going on his end. But, right now it's on the child. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I say my two favorites was the one that you had with Wiz and the one you had with Nature.
Yeah. I kind of feel. See how I got a little roll with Nature, right? That's my brother though. But I had
Right.
to give. I had
Shout
to
out
give
to
roll
Nature.
with Nature because I wanted
Yeah.
people to know that how dope he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I wanted to push him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't me trying to attack him. I wanted to
Right.
push him because sometimes I notice in an interview he can be reluctant. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I wanted him to come out. Sometimes we don't understand that when we doing this because we come from a certain era. But it's all love, man. All love for my brothers, man.
Shout out to Nature, man. I tell you, man, like man, Nature is one of the most slept on artists that in the rap game, period. Like how he had the verses on the Firm album was incredible.
Yeah,
yeah. So shout out to Castro, shout out to Nature.
Factual.
Yo, the two big things I think that recently happened in QB is one, I think Nas getting the Grammy for his new album, and then also I think about a couple of years ago also the death of Prodigy. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like, with Prodigy passing away, especially with you being so close to Havoc and what that meant for QB?
It was a lot of mixed things, man. Obviously you had people that was hurt, and you had, some people that just felt like, I don't even want to talk about them again to that, you know what I mean? But, and I can have my feelings towards him for certain things, but like I said before he passed, we came to a clear understanding, and I'm glad if anything that I had the opportunity to that.
That's good.
Right.
Like if you look on my gram, you see he and I on stage like this, which we wasn't able to do before because of certain decisions he made. And we talk about it in this last episode of On the Child. Like I addressed that with Havoc on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a loss in a sense to entertainment. You know what I mean? Definitely a big loss. I mean, I know his family definitely, it affected his family more than anything. And that's what, when it comes down to it, I mean, hip hop and all that, but it affected his family most. He had children, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's never, a good thing to lose their father.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace to Prodigy, man. One of the all-time greats. Do you have a favorite Prodigy verse?
Say it again?
Do you have a favorite Prodigy verse or verses?
Nah.
Yeah. There had to be a lot though. I'm guessing for Havoc being close to both of y'all like that.
Yeah, of course, man. That's like, losing the arm damn near, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in time you learn to navigate without it.
Right.
Yo, so back to the Against All Odds album. On that album, you had Just Blaze, Ayatollah, Prince Paul. You had Nasheem Merrick, Shaw Money XL, Young Lord. How you pull that off to get that kind of cast of producers as an independent artist?
All-star production team.
I had a initial. I mean, if you look at it, some of those producers actually worked on the War Report. So, and coming off the War Report, it opened the lane for dudes seeing like, yo, he knows what he's doing. Whatever he's doing after that, I want to be a part of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? People want to be, part of when they see you being successful with something, and that you're good at it. Even if it doesn't sell as much as the one prior to, they see that it's still a good mark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's true. One of the things I ask people, especially artists, man, how important is it? How important is it for the use of your imagination? Most people don't know how important the imagination is in this world, because you get enamored by so many different things. But there's a time, or there can always be a time, where you just take time for yourself and think internally, have some introspection about yourself, and use your imagination to kind of reform and reshape how you think about yourself. How important is imagination?
Oh, I think, who is this guy, man? Who is this guy, man? Who are you, yo?
That's another scientist, man. Two great scientists right here, man.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna keep it all the way. How you call it, Greenberry?
Yeah.
Right now, when I was a kid, I ran to the store to buy Intelligent Hoodlum because my mother would call me a hoodlum, but the kids thought I was a nerd because I was the only kid that went to private school. And all I wanted to do was be in the street. My mother was like, "Why you want to be in the street all the time?"
Yeah.
When that Intelligent Hoodlum came up, I said, "That's the shit." I never became a
man.
Yeah,
my lane.
yeah. Yeah, but you're a scientist too. I see that because you're asking certain kind of questions right now. You know what I mean? Like those are not ordinary questions. They're really not. And I'm not just saying that. Those are like ill questions. That's an ill question right there. Because like when we mature, you know, we gather up more responsibilities like children and women. So you know, with work and then having those other entities or having to keep them other planets in orbit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not always easy. You know what I mean? It's not always easy, and sometimes it can become very hard. So sometimes I have to kidnap those moments, which in turn can cause friction with the planets.
Right.
Because I got to kidnap those moments because when I feel like I need to reboot, because I'm so, you know, I'm navigating through reality so much, I need to tap into my, you know, I need to tap into my X-Men shit. I need to tap into my imagination. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine a nation. You feel me? I can't imagine a nation without it.
Without seeing it. That's right, man. Everything
you feel me?
First. That's right.
I see you though. I see you, God.
Hey, Trash, tell me, were there any particular songs that you loved that didn't make the cut for any of your albums? And if so, what were they?
Hell no, I put everything out.
My man.
Everything.
My man. See, and that's a perfect segue to my second question is having your freedom, having your independence. Tell me about your brand that you're wearing right now, the shirt.
Oh yeah,
CC on
you
it.
know, they took so much from us, so you know what? I took this right here, and I
took it back
from Chanel.
You know, like Casper Holstein with the numbers. They used to lock us up for playing numbers, and then they made lottery.
Right.
So you know, I just take it and I put the hood on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, you know, they took from us. I mean, you know, we got to take back too. That's the only way we're gonna get it. So it's just a little street thing I throw around. You know, I got different brands I throw around, and you know, that's about it.
Yeah. Yo, you've been doing it independent for a minute though. What's some of the lessons you learned being independent?
One, that this shit is constant work. And you can't be a boss without taking a loss, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take some losses with it, but you just gotta learn to play for long game.
Yeah.
If you play for long game, you're gonna win.
That's a good jewel because a lot of people don't realize that. You know, everybody thinks straight out the gate, being a boss.
Independency is long game, straight long. Don't look at tomorrow. Look at tomorrow for next week. Look at next week for next month. Like you got to look long game with this.
Right.
And it'll work.
The freedom that come with being independent, though.
Of course, because the only difference is you don't have nobody necessarily over you, but your business is over you. You will have to slave to that for a little while in order to become the master. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact.
And I like one of the phrases you use before. To be aware is to be alive. I love that. But you gotta stay sharp out here, man.
Say that again.
I said I like one of the phrases that I heard you use before. To be aware is to be alive.
That's a factory. That's an artifact.
You know what I mean? And being aware and just being vigilant and have a good foundation, man. You gotta stay sharp. Not keep your head on a swivel. So you know you can't be out here floating.
Nah.
So I appreciate
stay on your pivot.
Okay.
Stay on your pivot. They'll sweep your feet from under you, beloved. Like this in the air.
That's a fact.
You can't have that.
That's a fact.
Gotta maintain. Keep the story the
same.
Hey, Trash, I asked not. Go ahead, Rob.
Nah, I was gonna say he's a Leo. I'm a Sag, man. I could talk to him all day, G.
Yeah, shit, we fire.
That's
we fire. That's right.
All day, man.
Hey, Trash. We asked Imam Thug last week, right? Tell us about that classic session, man. This one of the best sessions on radio ever, as far as cats collectively coming up on the radio. You had Mace with it first,
You talking
Imam
about the
Thug.
Triborough joint?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was Mace, you,
Yeah.
Cameron, Nori,
It's
and
funny.
then you went at the end. You had the anchor leg on the whole joint, embodied it. But I
Yeah.
mean, much respect to everybody else. Everybody had their style. Everybody was good. But at the end, you were sounding like the Godfather of the whole joint.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just in Miami a couple weeks ago, and Cam pulled up, and we got to talking about that. And Cam
Right.
was like, "Yo, I ain't gonna front." I told my niggas, "Yo, body these niggas." And then Nori said, "Yo, Traj told us the same thing."
right.
So
That's how you
you
guys
know how
go.
men sharpen men still sharpen swords, man. We went up in there. We knew they was the hot dudes on the other side of the water. So I told Nori and them, I said, "Listen, man, take these niggas' heads off, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what we here for." You know
That's
what I mean?
that's when that beat switched in when Nori came in. The
Yeah, and
dog
yeah,
pound beat.
exactly. And like it came out beautiful. You know what I mean? General Who created my own crew, like y'all cool. You know what I'm
That
saying?
joint was epic right there, man.
Yeah, that shit was hard body. That was a memorable time right there too. Like because
Mm-hmm.
we did this where we did it at. I think we did it in Harlem somewhere. We did do it in Harlem somewhere. I think we did it at Self Crib or something.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, I
what?
think we did at DJ Self Crib and like Cardan was there. And it's like the first time I met Cardan.
Mm.
And it was interesting, man, because everybody was cool, but in the back of everybody's minds, they had a set agenda to go, and that was to
Right.
shake heads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
That was dope. That was dope. Good shit.
Yo, speaking of competitive nature, you was on the Keep Finest album also. What was that like?
Oh man, see the thing with that is that uh everybody wasn't there doing their verses, but we all knew how each other was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we all knew that we had to be on our motherfucking A game. We had to be on our, we had to be on point, like a Star David. You feel me? We had to be chiseled with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the inspiration between the Hidden Files album?
Like a lost tapes. Joints I had in the vault. Obviously not all of them, but 80% of the songs were songs I had in the stash. And I was like, yo, I'm not sitting on no product. I'm not sitting on no work. I'm gonna put this work on the block and keep hitting them. You know what I'm saying? And one of the greater importance of this particular album that it's fully independent and it's all me. You know what I mean? And it's sold pretty well too. It's so excellent. I ain't gonna lie.
Damn, that's good.
Yeah, it did better than I expected. Shout out to Rival Distribution too. They did the digital distribution, but I own it. But they did the digital distribution. So shout out to Rival Distribution, man. They did a great job with it, man. Shout out to infamous Amadeus at Shady 45, who connected me with Rival. I mean, they got me billboards and everything. They made it gracious, man. And I can't, the album did great. It did better than I expected to do.
Yo, let me ask you, because you're talking about ownership and stuff like that. I don't know if you heard. Did you hear recently what Jim Jones was talking about as it relates to masters?
Say it again.
Did you hear recently what Jim Jones was talking about as it relates
Oh
to
yeah,
masters? What's your
yeah.
thoughts about that?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, but it's still. I mean, this is nothing we didn't know before. You know what I mean? A lot of us. See, the thing is this: a lot of dudes went independent and it worked for them. A lot of dudes went independent and it didn't work for them. Some of the dudes that went independent, they were forced to go independent.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, they made it seem like it was a choice when they really had no choice. Do your homework; you'll see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But it just so happened to work for them. But had it been up to them, they might have went on the plantation just to be on the plantation, like Farrakhan said. Because why are you laughing?
Nah, I feel you. What you're saying is true.
Because they just want to be a bigger nigga.
Uh-huh.
Some of us don't care about having power and leverage. We just actually want to be a bigger nigga. And the crazy thing is about it, you want to be a bigger nigga over niggas.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean, when I look at the Jim Jones, Jim Jones dropped a lot of information. and he's talking to a specific mindset of boss and boss type of mentality. But I'm talking about that been into play. You feel me? Like that been into play, man. We've been should have been on that. But hopefully those that's coming into it now, they come into it with a certain kind of mind state and mentality. But we gotta take a break for a minute.
All right, bet.
We can come back, yo. I got you.
Good. Take a break. Hold on, Zane. Take a break.
All right, go ahead.
I'll come right back, baby. I got you.
Good. Take a break. Like,
you're tuning in.
Leave your questions in your chat for Tragedy. We got questions for Tragedy. Leave your questions in the comments. Dope interview, Trag. Putting it out there. I feel what you're saying though, because you think about it, like the appearance of being a bigger dude sometimes is more important to people than actually being the bigger dude.
Like they like the machine behind them. They want the machine to do the work. To put
and
on
the work ethic, yeah. But also again, the appearance of it, like it's appearing to be on a major level gives an appearance of success, and being independent gives the appearance of the illusion that a person is not nearly as successful. But the funny thing about it is the independence is giving people more ownership in a bigger split than with the majors was giving people. People wasn't getting 1 cent off of being on a major and being on an independent, getting dollars from every album they sell.
One artist I know who don't mind doing both, and I think that's Jadakiss. He don't mind going.
But Jay, let me tell you, I did some
catalog, and look what we're talking about. It's Jadakiss. Like the shit he puts out, people want to listen to whether I put it out, whether Arista puts it out, whether my grandmother puts it out.
Check Jadakiss out though, because one thing I don't know if y'all noticed about Jadakiss solo albums, Def Jam. Jadakiss will do those other projects like with the Locks, and I saw an interview where he said that with Sheik and Styles, because Sheik and Styles like going independent. Jadakiss like the machine behind them.
Right.
He and I've heard other artists say that also, that they like having a machine behind them and they like the promotion that comes with having the big label.
I like coming to my dressing room
and you know what else they like? They also probably like the advance that they get.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Oh yeah.
The label will give you an advance. The independent route, you putting your bread out. Yeah. You putting your bread out and you waiting for it to come back. Not everybody wanna wait for it to come back. So
to each his own, you know what I mean?
Or let's look at some of these comments. Paso says the TONY verse is still one of my favorite tracks that really set the tone, the chapter of hip hop that made its place in history. That's a fact.
Big shout to Cuz Paz Soul.
The claps. That's the song I'm talking about, Paso. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. That's that joint is classic. Where they flip Dawson Creek. Kenyatta says it's great to hear you involved with all these artists. You have the blueprint for success. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we want to be in front of the camera, or we want the accolades and everything, but our true gift is something else. Like, think about dudes that never made it as ball players in the league, and they turned out to be excellent trainers. And like, even you look at a dude like, I think about Shamgod. Like, Shamgod didn't have success in the league, but now Shamgod is a coach on the Mavericks.
That's a fact.
Oh yeah.
Even Andre Harrell, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, name one Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde record.
I know one, but I can't remember.
But think about who Andre Harrell was as an executive.
Right.
You're right. Major player, the mentor to Diddy.
So sometimes we fall into our calling.
Right. And I think last week you kind of get clouded on what it is that you want to do. Here it is, Trag, magnificent MC. But look at the artists he's developed.
Right.
Where their careers take off. And like you said, he's starting to see that the mentoring in him is probably the calling then. You know what I'm saying? So I've always, people already told me, Rob, I love to hear you speak, but I love to hear you kind of teach somebody something. Like when you the way you have with words sometimes kind of galvanize, it inspires people. And I look at myself like, I ain't no damn teacher. But then again, I say to myself, when I'm around my kids, I'm around a lot of young people, if I have something to say, at some point, I have their ear. And I'm like, all right, they're quiet. They're listening to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna tell you one thing though. One disadvantage we have is people who grown up in the hood though. Like we're not as trusting, so we begin to think that people that want to impart knowledge into us that they have ulterior motives, and
Right.
as a result of that, people are reluctant to actually absorb and soak up those gems and jewels, and you miss out because you so busy thinking that that people trying to pull a wool over you. And that's not to say that everybody who comes in and wants to be a mentor has the best interest of the mentee at heart. But
Right.
there are some people who genuinely have good intentions and they want to help people further develop, whether it be in the entertainment industry, whether it be academically, whether it be in the fashion industry, whatever it is. There are people who have the ability to be good mentors, but we've been so burnt before that we're not trusting.
Yeah, we don't want to trust nobody, man. We done been manipulated and lied to so many times. You gotta kind of just gotta filter it. And if you gotta
Right.
go in and you can, if you know people behaviors, you can kind of weed out who's fronting and who's not. But some people that's work for them. I don't want to sit here and gotta figure it out. I want it to come easy. So
I'm gonna tell you what I do appreciate though, when people find their way, like the resolution that he was talking about with him and Nori resolve things, and it sounded like him and P resolve things.
that's how you come back. You come back, man, and then when you make that comeback, now the energy of just reconvening and reconstructing that relationship, whatever it is, you're going on to do more things. You
For
know, look
sure.
at Nori with Drink Champs, and now the guard got on the child. There
Mhm.
probably
Right.
be an episode where Nori's on the child cooking some, I don't know, some empanadas or something. Who the fuck knows? But
Yeah.
it opens up the door for so many different things that happen. You know what I mean? And I think he mentioned on there it was all misunderstanding. So that means
Yeah.
communication. It's lack of communication.
Yeah. Nah, that's just when you grow up, time pass, clear minds, cooler heads prevail, you build, you get understanding, you have the ability to work through it.
Right.
Well, that's a blessing.
It's a blessing, man. For real, man.
For sure. But yo, he definitely an idea, man. Like even from the other joint, the drive by with Chris Castro, those were great interviews. And was Zane
Yeah.
saying about nature, like nature to me, nature's just a naturally reserved dude. So I could see why in the interview or even the rhymes and everything, he just seemed to be like a very reserved
A little aloof, right? He's a little just off to the side a little bit.
I
Yeah.
tell you what too, man. Shout out to Nature from QB. When Nature first album came out, I definitely liked it, man. I listened to it from front to back. I like the beat selection on there, of course, the lyricism, the wittiness with his lines and all that. And like I said before, when Traj was on earlier, that Firm album, man, that track he had with Noy was incredible. I'm leaving. That joint I'm leaving was incredible.
My favorite nature
Um,
verse is from Band from TV, son. I still give
oh man, with him, Pun. Who else was on the band from TV? Locks,
Jada, Cam,
Cam.
Pun
Yeah.
killed it though. Pun had the best verse, of course.
Now, Pun. I tell you what, man. I still to this day don't think that Pun gets the respect or the. I wouldn't say the respect. He gets respect when people don't.
got a little
When,
sign on Fordham Road.
Mm-hmm.
huh?
He just got a
Big
one
Pun Plaza on Florida.
on Fordham.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when people talking about like the top lyricists, Pun name should be in there more, man. Pun was nasty with it.
For sure.
Rest in peace to Big Pun.
Peace.
Peace.
Welcome back, brother.
What's good? What's good?
You
Yeah,
God.
we got a question in the chat.
Okay, let's get to it.
Somebody said, "Yo, ask Tragedy how the lawsuit he had with Master P panned out."
How it panned out?
Yeah.
It's not done yet.
Yo, can you expound on that? What were you suing Master P for?
Basically, he used the title for an album, Intelligent Hoodlum.
Oh,
And didn't check with you? He
Nah,
didn't know.
nah, and it was shocking to me because what he represents or what he
entrepreneurship, ownership.
yeah, you know what I mean. And it's like I was shocked, man. So initially, I didn't make it public for a while, before I approached him before privately, and I got no response, which I sort of took as a disrespect. In essence, because I wasn't gonna just approach him like that and approach him publicly, because I just felt that, he deserved more respect than that, you know what I mean? But the respect wasn't reciprocated in a timely fashion, or at least in a fashion that I deemed timely.
Right.
So, I had to make motion in other ways, but still have a certain respect for him, you know what I mean, and what he's done and what he's contributed to the culture and for us in terms of a business model, less, the way he treated this particular situation.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very, very good way to say that.
I mean, it's true, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh man.
We got to move accordingly, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Somebody wants to hear, what did you think about Banned from TV? Who had the best verse on Banned from TV?
Oh man, come on, don't do that to me, man.
I love nature. I love how nature set it off. I don't fuck. Nature
Nah.
set the whole shit. That's for me.
I gotta go with Nate first.
Wow.
For setting it off on that beat, the way he set that off.
I mean, his style, like the beat is so aggressive and but he just came so effortlessly and
That's
nonchalant,
really
like straight QB, like that shit was straight, like that's QB. QB is like, I mean, like
I'm still getting pushed.
I'm gonna just say this,
Come on.
Bridge Boys is different, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, what's up with MC Shan? Like, you still talk to MC Shan?
Oh man, I've been calling Shan. Oh man, and Shan actually called me the other day, and I still haven't returned his call because I've been so hectic. I owe MC Shan a call. I owe MC Shan a high salute, a backwards karate chop. I mean, MC Shan doesn't get the accolades, the praise, and the anointing he should. I feel from a lot of us QB artists, because I mean he said. MC Shan made the Queensbridge national anthem.
Yo, I told Doug the last week. I still play that song in my house like I'm from Queensbridge, and I ain't from Queensbridge.
Yo, in essence, man, we all from the same energy, man. You know what I mean? In essence, and there's a lot of pride in that song, and I can see, I'm gonna be honest, man, when Karis One made The Bridge Is Over, and me and my man LSD talk about this all the time. Peace to LSD, because he always fucks with me, because he'll be like, yo, Karis One when that The Bridge hard. He's from the Bronx, but he's my brother, and he'll joke with me and don't get it twisted. I got some of my best friends are from the Bronx. I've grown closer with Bronx dudes because I feel like a lot of them have a greater sense of loyalty for some reason.
Yo, you talking to three Bronx dudes right here?
See, you know what I mean? My man Ching Bing, very loyal dude. My man LSD, very loyal dude. Like, these dudes are very extremely loyal, and loyal under pressure. They're not pressure, but they could be in a tight situation with another party they may be with or flown with, but they'll still keep it true to what they initially stand with.
Right.
And that's not to be overlooked or devalued. So I like to say, I've grown since, the time I'm about to talk about, because I did something very, very disrespectful. But it was because I felt so strongly connected to the bridge and where I come from. And it's another example of how, we as young people come up with a false sense of identity, and we try to identify to whatever we feel is closest to us that we can embrace for a sense of identity. Just like a lot of our young people today, I don't want to stray away, just stay with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the God and I'm a scientist, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to give it to you, that in which is in my nature, the same way I gave you Intelligent Hoodlum and records of that magnitude. That's because that's my nature, and I had to do it. And that was my calling. And the same way I'm gonna make sound travel now and make knowledge born, and say, for our lack of real identity and culture, we'll gravitate and latch on to things that are not necessarily of us. And sometimes, oftentimes, we do that and even latch on to what the enemy has given to us or made free to us to latch on to. Now, with that being said, excluding Queensbridge, I feel Queensbridge was a good thing for me to latch on to in its essence. Not in particularly, to glorify the crime side of it and all that. Which, if you listen to my music, I've never really done that. I've depicted a picture of what goes on, but I never did it in the sense of glorification. And in fact, I've done it in the sense of, the consequences and the prices. I speak of it, like an old time in Harlem told me, he said, a person can't tell you nothing if they don't qualify. So when I speak on certain things, I come from a perspective of, look, I've been through this, or I've seen brothers go through this, and this is the price that you have to be willing to pay. And most oftentimes, the price is not worth what you think, the value of this thing is. And I say all that to say, not to be winded, I say all that to say, when I first heard Karis One's record live, I was at a skating rink called USA, and Karis One and BDP, Scott LaRock was alive then. Rest in peace to the great Scott LaRock. Was alive then, and they came and performed that song. And when it dropped and it said do 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 do, I was in the crowd. And when it dropped, I felt something come over me like I haven't felt before. I felt after that, but before I didn't feel this kind of feeling. And I felt like I have to hit this motherfucker with everything and whatever I have in my possession to hit him with. Because he's attacking
your
home. He's attacking my house. Like, sort of like how a very strong, compelled patriot would feel with you going at America.
It was a bomb drop.
So when the record dropped, I had a cup of ice in my hand. And I hit Karis One with it.
Damn.
Wow.
And what made me even angrier is that it hit him and he never missed a beat in his performance.
Wow.
And I said, I hate this motherfucker.
He's the consummate professional.
And that shit taught me a lot right there. And later, and now I've grown to have a great respect for what he did then and what he represents. But at the time, you attacking my mother, you attacking my flag, you attacking my nation. And now, with more maturity and, like we talked about earlier, vision, I realized that, it would take it's only a compliment to MC Shan and the bridge itself to even give birth, in a sense, to a Karis One.
For sure.
That's how when you look at it from a commander's standpoint, or like a master standpoint, opposed to from a soldier. As a soldier, I'm like, this nigga, he's a threat, and his record is hot. I can't deny it's hot because it made me bow my head, and he's the enemy. He must be destroyed. And this is without an allegiance per se to Shan, but because I wasn't even down with the Juice Crew, but I was more so than anything down with and a part of the bridge. And this is a time when the streets dictated hip hop, not now like whereas the hip hop dictates the street.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different dynamic. But I threw that cup at him, man, and it's like it taught me a lot since then, and which is still relevant today. And make a long story longer, when we look at a lot of our younger generations of people and how they they'll basically adapt themselves to any title or monarch, so to speak, whereas it's not for them, and it's not really even good for them.
Right.
Like I was watching the Godfather of Harlem episodes, right? And
Good show.
And I know a lot of it was dramatization for TV, but in essence, there's a lot of truth to a lot of those episodes, and within a lot of those episodes. And and again, don't get me wrong, I got friends, close friends, that are, some of them are like family to me, that happen to be, from the Italian culture and or nation or said nation. But and I'm God's type of divine, so you know, my perspectives is clear on certain things, and I'm not blinded by religio or so-called nationalism and things of that nature. I'm not blinded in that sense because I know how to pick and choose my friends. I know how to define my friends and my alliances. So I say all that to say, but there are some amongst my own people, you know, that you got people amongst us that are the same so-called color and complexion, that hate progress amongst black people and are not for it and will do whatever they can to stifle it and stand in the way. So if we could speak on those, aspects, we could speak on those aspects abroad outside of our own color without, feeling the need to defend it to other people to say, long story longer, I'm not a racist. You get where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir.
And a man of my stature and a man of my fabric, I strive to be careful because I don't want to create enemies, you know, that don't need be because of a misinterpretation. Words are very powerful. The English language is very powerful, and there's a lot of people who use it to manipulate things and will take something I say out of context, totally out of context, to create enemies for me and turn people against me. And this is a truth. So I say all that to say, not to be too winded. I hope the people can stay with me.
No.
But I say all that to say, like, this is the reason why a lot of our young people, we adapt things. Like, I'm watching The Godfather Harlem, and they was talking, it was someone depicting Joseph Bonanno, and he was saying how he gives, he sells dope to Bumpy Johnson. So just because he can, it makes his heart content to know that there's a skinny little kid going to bed hungry.
Damn.
Because he thought his son was killed by some dope gang in Harlem, when in all reality his son was killed by one of his own.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say is we'll have dudes out here calling themselves Bonanno. We'll have dudes out here calling themselves, a Gambino.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, not to take away from our good peoples that come from, Italian culture or Italian descent. I'm not saying that, and I don't want to be misunderstood or taken out of context. What I'm saying is, those particular monarchs and names, were not for you. They were not for your people.
Right.
But you'll take them for the sake of romanticism and basically just because it fucking sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like, I don't even take dudes like that in a factor to me when dudes like that do that, because it's like, really, like, you showing me what type of level you on. But
Right.
in essence, I kind of did the same thing when I threw that cup at KRS One. I did it for the wrong reasons. I thought at the time I was doing it for Queensbridge, and I could have did the same thing a different way and still had that allegiance
Same effect.
Mm-hmm.
to what I love about QB and what I stand for and how I relate to it and my connection to it. But I didn't have to do it that way. But the reason why I did it that way is for the very same reason a lot of our young people, take on titles and monarchs and names that are not of us, and it's all a sense of, looking for an identity, in search of an identity. And I think for the most part, I think for the most part, especially with hip hop, like I said earlier, it's a divine gift that we are, that we kind of we're losing the grips on because we're not really taking it and embracing it the way we should.
Right.
Because that plantation mentality, running to the plantation. That's why shows like this that you have are important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. Let me get some water. Pause out.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you even wonder the idolization and why people are enamored with some of the things they're enamored with.
It's pretty much what's glorified and sensationalized in front of us. Just the concept of Scarface.
Mhm.
That
Right.
sensationalized so much hustling during the crack era. And it's funny how that movie come out right as crack comes out, and then everyone's selling crack. Everyone wants to be Scarface. I mean, come on, man.
You got
Yeah.
you got you got you got the younger and even people older than us growing up more enthused with the movie Scarface than enthused with Shaka Zulu. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then
I'm cutting back in only to add on because you know what? It's all about the presentation.
yeah,
You know, Scarface is looking. He looks is romanticized. You know, the, the
Right.
the underdog. Everybody relates to, especially our people. We relate to the underdog who came up overnight. You know, with money, had money to throw around, and you know, we go into the game. A lot of us with that mentality. We come into this game. We go on the plantation. They throw us some money. And we don't even know what to do with that money. Like when I first got my first 200,000, I didn't even know what to do with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that in a matter of time, I was going to give it all right back
Yeah.
and be somewhat in the same position. In fact, be in the worst position because now I've got accustomed to a lifestyle I got to keep up.
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's all these things play a part in your psyche and how you approach your business and how you approach your life and how you approach and how you yield your power.
Part of your
Yeah.
development.
It's
Mhm.
it's it's funny because you before you stepped away earlier and we was talking about the plantation. I was saying when you stepped away, I said there are people that rather be on a major label and give off the appearance that they're successful and get less than a person that's on an independent and get more money out of it because again people get caught up in the appearance of things.
Khan said, all you need is the promise that you're gonna be made a bigger nigga.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mhm.
just want to be bigger than me. You don't even really want to be big. You just want me to realize or feel that you're over me, and
Yeah,
that gives you a certain level. That gives you a content,
for sure.
which is backwards math.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like me, not me per se, but even if you don't like me, you know why is that your goal to? Why is that your end all be all to be bigger than me, man? You still a puppet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that shit is embedded in our nature, though. Like we had shows before where we talked to people about internal racial inferiority, whereas even as Black people, we feel the need to feel like we're better than another Black person. Like we've been conditioned and trained to live with bullshit like that, and we just further perpetuate it with some of our actions.
That's right. Listen, I tell people this all the time, man. I'm not mad at let's say an Italian person who is pro-Italian. Listen, you need to be pro-Italian to respect my culture, but be pro-Italian in a healthy way. Don't
Mm-hmm.
be
Right.
pro-Italian in a supremacist type of way where you think you're better than me.
Right.
It's not about that. Feel good, love your culture. You know, love the aspects of your culture that give you healthy pride and a healthy sense of being and worth, knowing what your contribution is to life and humanity. There's an
Right.
overall difference in that, opposed to feeling, a supremacist type of you know, mentality where you feel like you're better than anybody else. It's not about that. You know what I mean? Me being pro-black does not mean I'm anti-white.
Right.
Right.
Fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
In
fact.
fact, if I'm pro-black in a healthy way, then that makes me, that makes me more open to respect other cultures outside of mine or the culture I may, specifically belong to due to, nature or genetics or however you want to term it. That gives me a greater respect for yours and I can appreciate it more. You know what I'm saying? If I'm pro-black in a healthy way. That's
Yeah.
how I see it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember hearing Large Professor say, I remember a time when brothers approached each other and every word that came out our mouths, we would exalt one another. It was good to walk to a brother and say, peace, Lord. Peace, Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
What up, mathematics?
That's
What's the
right.
science, scientific? How you doing, Lord? Like, that made you feel like, ooh,
You bro, you can't say, yo, I'm a shoot beloved.
right.
That beloved.
That don't even sound right.
Yeah.
Right.
How's that
Right.
beloved?
I
Right.
can't, yo, I'm a shoot Lord. You can't even say that.
Can't even say that.
But you can say, yo, I'm gonna shoot, yo, I'm gonna body this op. Yo, I'm gonna murder this nigga. You can say that, and you can get behind that. It doesn't feel contrary to anything. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't throw you off, but it throws you. How you gonna say, yo, I'm a murder beloved? Like, you got, like, you know, it's basic sense. You got to make shit killable before you can kill it.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me this, Trash. Being that we have these new artists out, right? What's in your ear right now as far as new artists that's out? That's on a, you know, sign level, and then give us some that whether the viewers are listening and want to know who the up and coming ones
on
are.
all the new artists. You know why? Because to me,
Gotcha.
they're no different. They're no different from a CNN of that time, of their time. They're speaking their language now. This is their language. This is their 9-5. And the more we as older dudes, you know, ostracize them, the more we disconnect ourselves from our tomorrow and our youth. So I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It may take me a little more to get into them, a little more time, because I gotta understand their language. But it's the same energy, man. It's coming from the same place. They just throwing around bigger labels and throwing around more foreigners. We did the same thing. You know what I'm saying? When Ray and Ghost dropped, the niggas was talking about the fly shit, man. They was talking about, you know, Tommy Hilfiger and Guess and shit like that, and lambskins and shit like that. They was talking about the same thing at that time.
Right.
It's no difference in that sense. The flow's different, the language is different, the melody is more melody now. We were more aggressive, but it's the same thing. They're talking, this is their 9-5. And if we ostracize them, we cutting ourselves off from our future and cutting ourselves off from our young people. And I don't think we should do that. I think that's a very detrimental move for us.
I tell you what, man. Now go ahead.
Yeah, but right now, one of the youngest I'm looking at and to put energy behind. Like I said, I'm working with a company, Bigger Vision. They also have a clothing line, No Manners, and they have an artist that they're, you know, that they're in line with, and the artist is Starboy. He's a young kid. Actually, was an amateur boxer on his way to go pro, and just went off into music, man. And you know, I think he has a lot of potential. We just got his record played on with Enough on the radio with the heavy hitters, and the record is Raindrops, and it's kind of like a modernized version of Candy Rain. You know what I'm saying? It's a dope record, but that's one of the youngins I'm looking out, man. So shout out to Starboy, shout out to Bigger Vision, my man J.O. and his whole team, man. So that's my focus on the youngins right now.
I tell you what, Trash, I definitely give you a huge shout out for embracing what Soulja Boy did. Like, people can say whatever the F they want to say about Soulja Boy, but Soulja Boy came in and changed that digital game as far as streaming.
Genius. And he's a genius.
He's like the first dude to really technically go viral, right?
Yeah.
So, yo, how's that book coming along? How far are you into the book?
Yo, I'm not even halfway done. I don't know. I might holler at you for some things on it, man. You seem like you in sync with it, man. I might holler at you, man.
Okay. Yeah.
That's huge.
Give us tell us an underrated MC, an MC that don't get their just due.
Man, it's a lot of them. Nature, Roy Flush, Planet Asia.
Oh, PA.
38 Special.
Yeah.
38 Special. Talk about.
RJ Payne.
Talk about it.
RJ Payne.
That's right there.
Oh man, it's a lot. John Jiggs. It's a lot, man. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot, man.
One of my favorites in the past few years has to be Rock Marciano.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Rock is crazy.
A lot of dudes got their style from him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. A lot of dudes got their style from him. So yeah. Definitely.
For sure. Well, Trash, before we let you go ahead and plug everything else you got going on. We got your social media on the screen, but if people want to get in contact with you beyond social media, how they reach out to you?
Oh, the best way is social media. Hit me at Tragedy 252. I'm glad y'all closing it up. I gotta hit that bathroom. But I wasn't gonna end it quick. I'll give y'all brothers my time, man. We can do this again. But anybody that want to reach Tragedy, reach me at Tragedy 252. Hit me on the DM if it's any business. Also to follow on the Chow, at on the Chow, ONDACHOW. Follow, watch, subscribe. Also check out G Stats, Harder Bars. That's at G Stats, STATSOCB. Check us out. We got a lot going on. Everything's up, man. Aura up. Everybody mogul up.
That's what it is. Peace. Good looking, Tragedy. Salute, my brother.
Salute, brother.
Y'all brothers, man.
Yo, Trash, stick around. I want to build with you behind the scenes about something.